Hi, my name's Mary Jane, or MJ if that's too long, and I'm making a series of very short videos to help people like you or me, normal people, to stand up and take action. And as much as this is out of my comfort zone, I can't ask people to stand up and take action if I'm not willing to do it myself. So stand up and take action about what? Well, about how I'd like to see Australia taken out of the hands of people who clearly do not have our best interests at heart, and given back to normal Australians, hardworking, kind-hearted, normal people like you and me. So I'll start at the beginning. In March this year, 2020, when the madness began and Scott Morrison declared that for me and my family to see my mother in her aged care facility, we would all need to have a flu shot. Okay, I thought, I'll look into it. And so I went onto the Therapeutic Goods Administration website to see what their product information sheets had to say about each of the 6 flu vaccines available in Australia, and was a little shocked to see that there were potential serious side effects. You can see them, look it up on the website. But not only that, they had not been tested for carcinogenic, genetic mutation or adverse fertility potential. So when I saw that, I thought, right, my kids are not going to have it. They're school-aged. Still, I thought surely, given the government is recommending this, the benefits must outweigh the risks. So I tried to find studies showing that they were safe and effective. We always hear that, don't we? Safe and effective, safe and effective. So looked for it, couldn't find it. So I ultimately had to submit a Freedom of Information request to the Federal Department of Health. Finally, to which they responded, quote, "The documents I refer to do not exist." Quote, end quote. No safe and effective studies. Okay. Still, I thought potential side effects on me, unlikely, right? But then I discovered that in the US there is an injury compensation fund which has actually paid out $4 billion to people who have been declared by the courts to have been injured from these sorts of products, including the flu product. The UK government also has an injury compensation fund which caps it at £120,000 per person. And guess what? Australia doesn't have one. So something bad happened to me, I'm on my own. My kids are on their own. And not only that, the manufacturers are exempt from liability. So if something happened, and my husband, who's been stuck overseas since January, thank you government, my kids would literally be on their own. So this situation didn't make sense if we're really, the government's actually concerned about our health and well-being. And there's a raft of international and Australian laws which clearly state that people must always have a choice and never be coerced when it comes to medical procedures. So the new law was clearly illegal. So I took action and, like tens of thousands of other Australians like me, we wrote to our aged care facilities and the federal and territory state representatives, the Prime Minister, the Attorney General, the Health Minister. I even submitted a complaint to the Australian Human Rights Commission, pointing out how this was entirely illegal and causing distress. And this is when I was slapped awake. Most of my replies, the replies I received, were pro forma. They ignored my questions and regurgitated the illegal government decisions. But my federal Labor MP staffer, not the MP, couldn't be bothered responding to me in person, even by email. The staffer emailed me simply to say, get the jab. We recommend you get the jab. So when I followed up with a phone call, this is what he replied. He told me, and I'll read this. My elected Labor representative would not be taking any action because she based her actions on Labor Party policy, not her constituents, my points of view. My voice would not be something considered by the Labor Party, as democracy doesn't work based on one person's point of view. And the Australian government is not the will of the people. And he did not know what I was referring to by talking about the will of the people, and that this concept had no bearing on what happens in Australia. And while that was shocking enough, it actually left me speechless. What was really telling was the lack of compassion or empathy he showed for a normal Australian in distress. Again, he said, the flu program was not mandatory and I was not being coerced into taking it. I was free to take it or not, but if I didn't take it, I wouldn't be able to see my mother in her aged care facility. And he laughed for good measure. A few times, actually. Nice touch. So the slap awake was not only that our political representatives clearly have no intention of listening to us, their constituents' concerns, unless it accidentally aligns with their own concerns, but they don't even care that we can see it. There were no niceties. He laughed at me, trying to make me feel stupid, to go away, shut up, and follow the rules or suffer the consequences. Now, I knew that I was not a lone voice. Tens of thousands of people in similar situations had signed parliamentary petitions and written to their representatives, federal and state territory, all around the country. And in fact, I saw 2 representatives at least who were delightfully shredding the letters that they'd received. They'd actually received lots. They were shredding them and saying to camera, live, don't bother sending us any letters because this is where they're going, in the shredder. So why wouldn't they care? Wouldn't they be worried that we'd vote them out? Obviously not. So actually, I want to thank that staffer for making it very early on immediately clear that if I wanted change, I would have to stand up and create it myself. And that's when I stood up and took action. Completely out of my comfort zone, just like this video, but I did it for the future of my kids. So in this series, I'm looking to help others like me, like I was, and like you might be. Just number 1, you're not alone and you're not crazy. And together, we can create change if we choose. How? Well, by standing up and taking action. What action? Well, we'll work our way through that. Don't panic. I guess you'd better first ask yourself, do you really want to create change? And if you get a yes on that question to yourself, ask yourself right now in your life in Australia, what is it that you have concerns about, that you would like to change? And then finally ask yourself, how much time do you have? Or more precisely, how much time are you willing to create to make the changes that you're looking for? Doesn't have to be a lot of time, 5 minutes, 5 days. You just need to get clear on what that is. Have a think about it. And if you like, you can tell me in the comments below. So for now, thank you for being kind to me with my first video. My aim is really, really simple. To make Australia fair again for normal Australians, hardworking, kind-hearted people like you and me. Because right now, that's not who's running the country. Thank you.